Okay, you guys, this is for the entrepreneur, the creative visionary leader who is currently being slowed down by stress and friction, either from team drama at work or relationship issues at home. So, why would you want mindset coaching? Well, it's because you might have a conscious desire to get to where you want to go, right? Grow your revenue, grow your team, grow your business, serve the world, make a difference. All of those things can be your conscious desires and goals. And so we've all been familiar with the iceberg metaphor that your conscious mind is just like the tip of the iceberg and your unconscious is like the 95% beneath the surface. And so even though you might have the conscious desire to climb that mountain towards your goals, what you also have and what you need to deal with along the way are your unconscious handbrakes, your survival patterns, your trauma responses, the unconscious conditioning. And those show up, you'll see them there on the iceberg like little landmines. And so you might be climbing along, doing really well, going towards your goals, and then boom, you hit on a landmine, and suddenly you get dropped down into an unconscious pattern, an unconscious trauma response. Now, you might think that that's trying to ruin your life, but it's actually not. It's your unconscious mind trying to heal so that you can become the person that can actually live into and hold and experience the fullness of your dreams and goals without it kind of blowing you up along the way. And so, this is actually when those kind of landmines go off and it shows up as team drama or being held back or some kind of problem or obstacle that you weren't expecting. It's actually showing you where you need to slow down, shore up your foundations, and grow and evolve as a human being so that you can actually live into your best life. So we've all seen this idea of power versus force. And so I like to simplify it into, are you being the creator of your life or are you being the victim of circumstance? And so this is very simple. It's like, well, when you're being the victim, stop playing the victim and just take responsibility and, go after and create what you want. But sometimes that's easier said than done. And so we can go a little bit deeper. So you'll see here, I've got multiple models laid out. On the left-hand side, we have the levels of consciousness, which is from David Hawkins' work, which tracks the energetic emotional states from shame all the way through to enlightenment. So shame, guilt, apathy, grief, fear, desire, anger, and pride are all lower states, more shadow states, more dense forcing states. And then the higher states, courage, neutrality, willingness, acceptance, reason, joy, love, peace, enlightenment, these are the powerful states that you can actually create from. So you can create from the lower states. You can create from desire. You can create from fear. You can even create out of grief. You can create out of anger, right? Who's ever gone, F you, I'm going to show you what I'm going to show you how great I'm going to be. Right? So you can actually create from those states. But the problem with creating from those states is that it's almost like it has a shadow or a splinter or a loose screw in the machine that as you get bigger, that loose screw rattles even more and that problem becomes bigger and amplifies until you have to address it. And so that's what often happens with entrepreneurs that come to me for private coaching, is that they've actually built something that's really great that they might enjoy or feel really satisfied by or be making a really great revenue. But there's some part of that core that's like, I've reached this height of success, but I don't feel fulfilled, or I thought it would feel different, or I've reached this height of success, but it's come at the cost of my relationship with my partner, or I don't feel connected to my kids, or I can't slow down. I can't actually stop to enjoy and appreciate the success that I've worked so hard to create. So that's the emotional frequency. And that's a good kind of guidepost of, are you actually feeling good on a day-to-day level, or are you forcing and pushing yourself to keep going and overriding your body's responses because you think that's what you have to do to create success? Are you forcing yourself? And that's where you get into drama and conflict with yourself, because some part of your body is like, slow down or feel this. And your mind is like, no, I don't want to feel that feeling. Just squash it down, F your feelings and keep going forward. And look, there is there are times where that is appropriate, where, it doesn't mean you need to become at the mercy of whenever you just feel a bit flat. But when you consistently and constantly override those emotions, then you can end up reaching a success that feels hollow, or it comes at the cost of some kind of sacrifice that feels like it's probably not worth making. So, where I come in is help entrepreneurs find those places where they're out of alignment and deal with them and address them, almost like an insurance policy. Deal with them and address them before they become a huge problem that blows up your life, or you end up getting divorced, or you want to blow up or burn down your business because you hate it and you feel trapped in it. Right. And so when we break this down, the force versus power, you can see that there's two triangles. The downward facing pointy triangle at the bottom, with which the V, A, and R, which I'll get into in a sec, and then the upward facing pyramid of L, V, and C. And so we've got visionary, creative, leader, and the victim, rescuer, aggressor of the lower triangle. And so this is how we actually can start to unpick where those problems are slowing you down, where the unconsciousness is actually handbraking your acceleration, right? Literally, it's like doing a burnout in your car. Imagine trying to accelerate, but having the handbrake on at the same time. You're going to use heaps of energy and get nowhere and burn out your tires and your engine in the process. So we want to find where those handbrakes are and remove them. And then you'll need a lot less acceleration energy to move forward much faster and easier. So this goes a little bit deeper into this model that I've developed, which is a transformation and an evolution of the drama triangle model. And so you might resonate with the idea of being a visionary, right? Having a strong vision, knowing what you want to create, seeing the future and demanding it becomes real. As my friend Alex Sharfin says, entrepreneurs go out into the future, see the vision that they want to create and come back to the present and demand it becomes real. I love that. I love that about him. He's such a great example of a visionary leader in that way. And so when the visionary leader drops into shadow, then that vision can be seen as steamrolling instead of enrolling, right? So if you've ever been accused of, steamrolling over people, or being too aggressive, or having people not be able to understand or kind of get too sensitive about your directness, then you might be in the shadow state of the aggressor, which is a strong yang energy, like the direct force push, going to make it happen, going to get through, going to create that thing, which is good as a visionary. It's good as an entrepreneur. It's good as a leader. And there are also some ways that we can balance that out so that it doesn't create unnecessary friction and unnecessary problems with your team. So this is where the drama triangle can actually pull you out of your vision, because you're then caught up dealing with team drama that is just slowing you down and frustrating you. The other way that this can then fall into patterns and problems is that then the other side is the leader to rescuer pattern. And so instead of leading people, this is the healer entrepreneur that instead of leading people ends up going broke because they don't have a good financial model and are so busy rescuing and having compassion for others and discounting instead of actually empowering themselves and others to rise up. I've definitely been in this spot, and this is a big part of why I've developed this material through coaching others and working through my own stuff, because everybody has some version of this. This is one thing that I'm really passionate about, is that we don't need to be ashamed of this. They're just human patterns, right? Everybody has some version of it. And the quicker we address it, the quicker we can move forward and become the leaders that we really want to be in the world. Then the third kind of shadow pattern that plays out is the creator who becomes a victim to their own compassion and humility. So they never actually create what they really want to create because it feels too vulnerable, and they don't feel like they're enough to actually go after what they really want. And so they end up following these cookie cutter templates of follow these 7 steps to success. And it's like, well, it's someone's 7 steps to success, but if it's not true to you, then you're going to create some success that might look like success on the outside, but it doesn't actually feel like success on the inside. So let's get into it a little bit deeper. So when you're pulled into these shadow states, you're in the lower triangle. And so the drama triangle tracks the roles of conflict and hurt that play out in our lives. And so we have the victim, the rescuer, and the aggressor. In the original material from Stephen Karpman, he calls it the perpetrator. I call it the aggressor because I think it's a better name for it. And so the core of each of these, they sound like they're kind of problematic names, right? But archetypes relate to the way that you perceive the world and the way that you interact with the world. So you might be a leader, but if you wake up on a bad day or you're having a problem with your partner, you might be a leader that's actually operating with a victim mindset in that moment. Or you might be technically the leader of the company, but you're operating from a rescuer. Or you might be the leader, but you're operating from an aggressor role. And so this tracks the way that we relate to the world and the way that others perceive us and relate back to us. And the thing about the drama triangle is that it comes in threes, right? It is a triangle. It's got three corners and it's got three roles. And so we tend to resonate with one of the roles on this drama triangle, feel pretty neutral about one. And then there will be one that we find like, ooh, I wouldn't want to be like that. Right? I wouldn't want to be a victim, or I want to be a rescuer. I wouldn't really want to be an aggressor. And so the challenge here is that the role that you feel most like repelled by is the one that has the most medicine for you, right? That's the one that is in your shadow. That's the one that you don't have the benefit that comes with that role, right? The victim has the benefit of humility and vulnerability. The rescuer has the benefit of compassion and selflessness. The aggressor has the benefit of desire and drive and knowing what they want and how to go after it. So drama triangle is a game of the heart. It's a part of your past unconsciousness that is actually attempting to heal itself. So the victim is the brokenhearted one. The rescuer is the bleeding heart that doesn't want anybody to feel the pain the way that they felt pain. The aggressor is the locked up and guarded heart. It's like, well, my feelings are so sensitive and tender, I'm going to lock it up and throw away the key so I never have to feel that vulnerable again. Feeling is like awful. So that vulnerability, this is a part of actually how your heart gets out of balance. And so ideally, we want to come into, if you imagine this like the three legs of a stool, right? We want each of the legs to be even and balanced so that we can move up to our higher order functioning. When they're out of balance and you've got one that's really weak because you're repelled by it, then that's going to be the place that causes the biggest problems in your life. Right. And that's the work that I do in my one-on-one work and in my Heart Alchemy courses and events. So here's how we deal with it, right? The visionary creative leader and this unconscious part, the forcing part, when you're at effect, these are the parts of your unconscious that need healing and integration support to unlock the power that actually is hidden inside them. And so the challenge with this is that it's nearly impossible to do it alone. It's nearly impossible to self-coach your way through this because the problems are in your blind spot and they are relational wounds, right? These often relate back to childhood wounds with your mom and your dad or your carers or, those types of things. Now, this doesn't mean we need to go into endless processing of your childhood and endless talking about stories from your childhood. But understanding that, it means that it needs to be a co-creative healing experience where someone offers you a space of non-judgmental, unconditional loving acceptance and compassion so that you can actually meet those places that feel super vulnerable and tender within yourself and actually reclaim them. Right? It's like there's little parts of you that are kind of blocked off and out in the cold. And we need to actually bring those parts in because while they're locked out in the cold, you will continue to encounter problems where those aspects of yourself that are in your shadow get projected onto other people and show up as problems in your life, right? Let me say that again. If you have rejected your rescuer, for instance, right? If you have rejected the compassionate, selfless part, and that's in your shadow, then you will constantly come up against maybe issues with at your HR manager saying, well, we need to help this person, or people who want to, or salespeople who are not performing because they're giving too many discounts to people. So that rescuer that you have disowned shows up as projections onto other people in your world. And that's not trying to show up as problems. It's like the universe's way of trying to make you whole again, right? And so it's very challenging to see these patterns by yourself because you're inside them. And I have, over 20 years as a coach, honed my laser vision to go right into the core of exactly what's going on and have some incredibly powerful tools to heal it and move that energy and release it without needing to talk for hours or go all through your childhood or anything like that. We can literally just rub some points on your body. I can take you through a quick visualization and we can sort it out. So that's the power of doing this work. And then when you reclaim that, the part of you that feels the compassion and selflessness gets integrated into the rest of your body. And then it might come up with an amazing new offer that can actually become more profitable and be more in fair exchange with people, stuff like that. So this model that I've developed really allows us to balance our desire and drive, our compassion and selflessness, and our humility and vulnerability to be able to be the creators of our life, create the visions that we truly want to create, and be the leaders that we really want to be, right? And the people that are drawn to working with me are often in some kind of leadership, change making, coaching, high performance, personal growth type of arena, business coaching, anything like that. Those are the most useful areas to be able to apply this, because you're dealing with people every single day. You're being the person that people look up to and get inspired by. And so you need to be on your A game to be able to be the best that you can be, not just as a facade of perfection, but actually in your authentic self. So there's a whole bunch of models that I work with: the power centers, spiral dynamics, levels of consciousness, kinesiology, NLP, hypnosis, all of the things, right? One of the ways that we work through this and the drama that comes up is actually a part of our minds trying to evolve. And so spiral dynamics is one of the models that I use that I really like, because it tracks the journey of our evolving consciousness. And so we travel through, all humans travel through a pathway of growth. And this isn't purely linear. It kind of happens in waves and streams. But the idea is that we move from survival when we're first born into tribal with our family, which is about relationships and our family dynamics, into power and ego and finding our own identity, into order and structure, like at school or at university, then into our prosperity drive, which is about growing a business or creating our own success and wanting to create the life that we want to create. A lot of entrepreneurs are at this level, the orange meme level. Then once you've created a vast success, then often the philanthropic or community-centered drive starts to kick in. You start to think, well, I've got so much. How can I give back? What's the next challenge I can apply myself to? Because I've already mastered business. How can I now bring my mind and my skills to the world in a bigger way? And so that starts the community philanthropic drive. You see it with like Bill Gates running huge philanthropic organizations after having huge success with IBM, right? And then we move into this synergistic level where we start to see the systemic awareness, and this starts to become more fluid. At each of these lower levels below yellow, all of these drives are in conflict with each other. And as you move from one level to another, there will be some kind of friction and some kind of drama that plays out. So until we reach this yellow level of consciousness, then we can't actually unpack that all of these different drives are important, that all of them need to be firing, all of them need to be working in harmony. And that's when we can start to move up into a more holistic or global level of consciousness. So, what happens when we're moving through these evolving layers is that we can often find ourselves almost being a bit lopsided. So, some people tend to be more focused on themselves, on what they want to create, what they want to bring into the world, what they need, what they want, what they desire. And so you'll see this me side of the equation, where it's about your survival, your power, what you want to create, and the money that you want to make, and the systems that you need to put in place to make the money that you want to make, and be who you want to be. Right? That's the entrepreneur, the founder, the CEO, the visionary that's going out and creating what they want to create. That's lopsided on the me focused side. On the other side, we have the we focused side, the people who are about tribe and including everybody, and who want to follow the rules and make sure all of the rules are followed and everybody's doing what they're supposed to be doing and checking all the boxes, and who care about including everybody's voice and having endless meetings about meetings so that everybody's voice can be heard and so that we can all live together in a kumbaya of the global harmony and love. Right? And these people tend to be the healers, the supporters, the therapists. Obviously, I'm being hugely generalized, and everybody has aspects of all of these. But notice which one you're strong, which side you're strong in, and which side you're weak in. Right? Notice which side you've got more strength in and which side you're weak in. And it doesn't mean you need to be totally balanced. It just means we need to maybe bring up and bring awareness into the places where you might have some challenges so that they don't become problems and obstacles. So I have this whole transformational method that helps you bring total balance to all of these systems. But ultimately, if you want my help to stay in your greatest creative power, let's talk about it, right? I have some one-on-one availability to work with high-level entrepreneurs, either on a monthly basis or in an intensive transformational process. But this gives you a bit of a rough idea of how I work and the level of depth and nuance and systems that I have to actually track the invisible stuff that's going on between your ears and inside your heart. So if that resonates and you want my support to be your best self, just reach out and let's have a chat.